The Christian world stands in mourning following the passing of Pope Francis, the 265th successor to St. Peter and the spiritual leader of over 1 billion Catholics worldwide. As the news of his death spread across the globe, the Vatican has entered a time of prayerful transition, guided by centuries of sacred tradition. In accordance with Roman Catholic protocol, the camerlengo of the Church, Irish-American Cardinal Kevin Farrell has formally confirmed the Pope's death. The solemn duty, rooted in ancient tradition, was symbolically carried out by tapping the Pope's forehead 3 times with a silver hammer and calling his baptismal name. It is a ritual that not only confirms his passing, but marks the end of his earthly mission. Immediately after this confirmation, the papal apartments in the Apostolic Palace were sealed. This act signifies the conclusion of Pope Francis's earthly ministry and begins a carefully ordered process of mourning and preparation. The camerlengo, together with 3 cardinal electors chosen by lot, will now plan the funeral and oversee the first stages of transition. In the coming days, the late Pope's body will be moved to St. Peter's Basilica, where the faithful will have the opportunity to offer prayers and pay their final respects. In keeping with tradition, his fisherman's ring and official lead seal will be destroyed, ensuring that they can never be used again. The Church does not perform an autopsy on the Pope in accordance with long-standing custom. A 9-day period of mourning known as the novemdiales has begun. During these sacred days, the Church around the world is invited to join in prayer, thanksgiving, and remembrance. Pope Francis's funeral is expected to be held between 4 and 6 days after his passing, with the exact date to be determined by the College of Cardinals. The funeral mass will take place in St. Peter's Square in what is anticipated to be a deeply moving service attended by leaders of faith and nations. In a break from recent tradition, Pope Francis requested that he be buried not in the crypt beneath St. Peter's Basilica, but in the Basilica of St. Mary Major in Rome, a church he often visited and held close to his heart. His body will be laid to rest in a zinc-lined casket. During the sede vacante, Latin for the seat being vacant, the daily governance of the church passes to the College of Cardinals. Their authority is limited during this time, and much of the Vatican's administration passes as the global church prays and waits. 15 to 20 days after the Pope's death, the cardinals under the age of 80 will gather in the Sistine Chapel to begin the sacred conclave to elect a new pontiff. This holy process is steeped in prayer, discernment, and silence. The cardinals remain cloistered in the Vatican, residing in the same simple guest house Pope Francis chose over the grandeur of the Apostolic Palace. Voting continues until one candidate receives a 2/3 majority. Once a new pope is elected, he is asked whether he accepts the role and what name he wishes to take. Upon his acceptance, he is then vested in papal garments and seated on a throne in the Sistine Chapel, where the other cardinals kneel to offer him obedience and support. The outside world will witness the joyful announcement through the traditional sign of white smoke rising from the Sistine Chapel chimney, created by burning the paper ballots with special chemicals. Until that moment, black smoke will signal that a decision has yet to be reached. Finally, in a moment filled with spiritual anticipation, the Dean of the College of Cardinals will step out onto the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica and declare, "Habemus Papam, we have a Pope." The newly elected pontiff will then appear before the faithful and offer his first apostolic blessing, marking the beginning of a new chapter in the life of the Church. As the world prays for the repose of Pope Francis's soul, the Church prepares to welcome his successor. In this sacred time, believers are called to unity, prayer, and hope, trusting that the Holy Spirit will once again guide the Church through this historic transition.